right, welcome back, everyone. Today we're jumping into Numbers chapter 10.
That's right. This chapter, it's a real turning point.
Yeah, absolutely. The Israelites, they've been at Mount Sinai for, what, over a year?
Just about, yeah. Getting the law, building the tabernacle,
Yeah.
really establishing
Well,
themselves.
now? That's all done. It's time to move, time to head towards the Promised Land.
Exactly. And this chapter gives us the playbook for that departure, how they actually did it.
It shows how they went from being, stationary, learning how to be God's people.
To trying to be God's people while on the move, which is a whole different challenge, right? Navigating the wilderness.
Definitely. So Numbers 10 mixes that divine command with some very practical human organization.
It really does. And the first thing we hit upon are these trumpets.
Ah, yes, the silver trumpets. The Lord tells Moses, make 2 trumpets, hammered silver specifically.
And the material, silver, it often pops up with ideas of redemption or purity. But the main thing here is their function.
They're not just musical instruments.
Not at all. They're like a divinely ordered communication system.
Yeah.
Essential for managing, well, potentially millions of people.
It really drives home how everything, even tools, were woven into their life and their worship.
Right. And the instructions are so precise. Sound both trumpets together.
And the whole community gathers, everyone, at the tent of meeting.
But then there are variations.
Like if you blow only one trumpet.
That's just for the leaders, the heads of the clans. So different calls for different folks shows structure.
And then there are completely different signals for packing up and moving out, right?
Absolutely.
Oh.
A specific blast tells the eastern tribes, okay, time to go. Another sequence, that's for the southern tribes.
And the text is clear. The sound for gathering is not the same as the signal to march.
It had to be distinct. A clear, audible code out there in the desert.
So who gets to blow these important trumpets?
That's key. It's the priests, Aaron's sons.
So not a military job or just logistics. It's sacred duty.
Exactly. The very sounds that organize their physical steps are tied to their spiritual leadership, their connection with God.
And this whole system, it wasn't just for this one move, was it?
No, the text says it's a lasting ordinance for generations to come. It's built into who they are.
Wow. Foundational stuff.
Definitely. But their use goes beyond just moving camp. They were crucial in battle, too.
How so?
If they faced an enemy in the land, sounding a blast, well, the promise was they'd be remembered by the Lord your God and rescued.
Remembered by God.
Yeah.
So blowing the trumpet in a fight was like a direct appeal, a call for help.
Precisely. It connects their battles directly to relying on God. And then there's the flip side, times of joy.
Like feasts and festivals.
Yes, appointed feasts, new moon festivals. They'd sound the trumpets over their offerings, their sacrifices.
As a memorial before your God.
Yeah, so think about it. These 2 silver trumpets are for logistics, military SOS, and worshipful remembrance.
That's incredible. The practical, the military, the sacred, all bundled together.
It shows you, for them, there wasn't really a line between everyday life and their walk with God. Even moving camp could be an act of worship, of dependence.
Okay, so the trumpets are made, the signal's known, everything's ready. When do they actually leave Sinai?
We give a very specific date. 20th day, 2nd month, 2nd year since leaving Egypt.
So yeah, just over a year camped at Sinai. And what's the final? Go ahead.
The divine signal. The cloud. The cloud lifts off the tabernacle.
That visible sign of God's presence moves, and they know it's time.
That's the trigger. When the cloud moved, they moved. Simple as that in theory.
They start from the desert of Sinai, heading towards the desert of Paran initially.
And it's underlined that this wasn't their idea. They set out at the Lord's command through Moses.
Divine authority driving the whole thing. Okay, but moving that many people, plus animals, tents, the entire tabernacle, that needs serious order.
Oh, absolutely. And chapter 10 spells out a very precise marching order, almost military-like.
Grouped into divisions, each with its own standard, its own place.
Right. Leading the way. The divisions of the camp of Judah, under their standard.
And it names the commanders, too. Nahshon for Judah, Nephanel for Issachar, Eliab for Zebulun. Highly organized.
Very. And right after Judah's group comes a key team of Levites.
The ones carrying the tabernacle itself?
The structure, yes. The Gershonites and Merarites. And notice, the tabernacle was taken down before they set out. They're carrying the pieces.
Makes sense. Get the heavy framework moving early. Who's next?
Then come the divisions under Reuben's standard. Again, commanders named. Elizur for Reuben, Shelumiel for Simeon, Eliasaph for Gad.
And following them, another group of Levites.
Yes, this time the Kohathites. And they have the really crucial job
carrying the holy objects, the ark, the altar.
Exactly, the most sacred items. And here's a fascinating detail. The instruction was the tabernacle was to be set up before they arrived.
Wait, so the guys with the poles and curtains go first, then Reuben's group, then the guys with the ark and altar.
Right.
And the tent needs to be ready when the holy things get there.
Precisely. It shows incredible coordination. The first Levite group hurries ahead to assemble the structure. The Kohathites follow, carrying the sacred items, ensuring the holy space is prepared and waiting. It's about reverence, careful planning around God's presence.
That's amazing foresight. Okay, after the Kohathites.
Then you get the divisions of Ephraim's camp. Under their standard, leaders named again, Elishama, Gamaliel, Abidan.
And finally, bringing up the rear.
That duty falls to the division of Dan's camp, serving as the rear guard commanders, Ahazer, Pagiel, Ahira.
So, a clear sequence. Judah leads, tabernacle framework follows, then Reuben, then the holy items, then Ephraim, and Dan protects the back.
Yeah, the text sums it up. This was the order of march as they set out. No chaos here. It's deliberate, structured.
Reflecting that sense of order they learned at Sinai, maybe? A holy people moving in a holy, ordered way.
I think that's exactly right. But, even with God's commands, trumpet signals, this careful order, the desert is still the desert.
Ah, right. Which brings us to that interaction with Hobab.
Yes, this really human moment. Moses turns to Hobab, his Midianite relative, his father-in-law.
And invites him along. We're going to the place God promised. Come with us. We'll share the good things.
It's a genuine invitation into Israel's blessing. But Hobab, well, he initially says no.
Understandable. Wants to go back to his own land, his own people, the familiar.
But Moses insists. And his reasoning is fascinating. Please don't leave us, he says. You know where we should camp. You can be our eyes.
Okay, be our eyes. That's the phrase that jumps out, isn't it? They have the cloud leading them.
And as we'll see, the ark is going ahead to find resting places.
So why does Moses need Hobab's eyes? Doesn't that sound like, well, a lack of faith or something?
It's a great question, and I don't think it suggests a lack of faith necessarily. I think it shows an understanding that God's guidance doesn't always cancel out the value of human experience and wisdom.
So God provides the cloud, the ultimate direction, but Hobab knows the terrain, the water holes, the safe spots.
Exactly. Hobab has practical, lived experience of that desert. Moses sees value in that. It suggests God's plan can actually use human knowledge, human relationships. It's not always either. Sometimes it's both hand.
Divine direction working through human means. And Moses repeats the offer, right? Share in the blessings if you come.
He does. We don't get Hobab's final answer right here, but the whole exchange really highlights this blend of trusting God and using the resources, the people God puts in your path.
Okay, so trumpets ready, order set. Hobab may be persuaded. They finally leave the mountain of the Lord, Sinai.
And they travel for 3 days initially.
And during those first 3 days, 2 key guides are mentioned. First, the ark.
Yes, the Ark of the Covenant goes before them.
Ahead of the whole procession. Why?
The text says to find them a place to rest. The Ark, symbolizing God's presence, is literally scouting ahead, choosing their campsites, leading the way.
So it wasn't just carried along in the middle during this phase, it was out front.
Seems so for this initial leg.
Yeah.
And the cloud is still there too.
Oh, yes. The cloud of the Lord remained over them by day, still providing that visible guidance, protection, maybe shade too.
So multiple layers of guidance. And Moses has specific words he says when the ark moves.
Yes, these short, powerful prayers really stand out. When the ark set out, he prayed, "Rise up, O Lord, may your enemies be scattered."
A battle cry almost, invoking God's power as they venture out.
Asking for protection before trouble even starts, and when the ark stopped.
His prayer shifted. Return, O Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel.
Asking God's presence to settle down with them wherever they camped.
Exactly. It paints this picture of God not just pointing the way, but actively traveling with them, clearing the path and dwelling among them.
Okay, so let's try and pull some threads together from Numbers 10. What are the big takeaways here?
Well, one huge thing is how deeply the sacred and the practical are woven together. Trumpet calls for marching, the careful handling of holy items. Their physical journey is a spiritual act. There's no real separation.
That's right. The mundane becomes holy because it's done under God's command, in his presence. What else?
The way divine guidance and human wisdom work together. You've got the cloud, the ark, direct commands. Yet Moses seeks Hobab's desert knowledge.
Yeah, that be our eyes moment. It suggests faith doesn't mean switching off your brain or ignoring practical help.
Right. God can guide through those things too. It's not necessarily a lack of trust, but maybe wisdom in utilizing all available resources.
That's a really useful insight. Anything else?
I think the emphasis on order and structure is crucial. They're making a massive transition from stability to movement. That detailed marching order, the clear signals, they weren't just fussy details. They were essential for keeping this huge community together, focused, and safe on a difficult journey.
It shows them learning how to follow God on the move in the middle of chaos and uncertainty, not just when things are calm at the mountain.
Exactly. It's God leading, yes, but it absolutely requires human obedience, careful organization, and even tapping into practical know-how like Hobab's.
So, Numbers 10 gives us this picture of the Israelites finally leaving Sinai. It's highly organized, clearly God-led, but also very, very human.
It really does. And it kind of leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, think about that tension we talked about. God is visibly leading with the cloud and the ark. It's undeniable. Yet Moses, God's chosen leader, still asks Hobab, the guy with local knowledge, to be our eyes.
Right, the divine and the human expertise side by side.
So what does that interplay tell you about navigating your own journey? When you feel God is leading, does that mean you disregard practical wisdom or human insight? Or is finding your way often about blending that divine pull with the best human understanding and resources you have access to? Is it always one or the other? Or maybe, like for Moses, it's often about integrating both? Something to think about.